Road construction or resurfacing. Annoying with all those detours, but necessary. Once the contractor is finished, he moves on to another road construction project. Except in Lawrenceburg, Indiana.
Well, there's been driveways done, there's been retaining walls, there's been garage floors, patios, and probably other things that I don't even know.
Welcome to Lawrenceburg, a city which probably has more new driveways per capita than any community in America. That's because Lawrenceburg has what's called the Off-Right-of-Way Concrete Program. That program lets contractors who are doing street work for the city of Lawrenceburg also do work at private homes and businesses. But according to the state of Indiana's financial watchdog agency, there are lots of problems.
Problem number one, the city pays the contractor for the work at somebody's house or business, and the citizen is then supposed to reimburse the city for a small percentage of the cost. But plenty are not even doing that. According to the Indiana Board of Accounts, the state agency which checks the books, in 2008, the city was owed more than $200,000. By 2009, nearly $350,000. 2010, more than $500,000. And 2011, the most recent year audited, more than $600,000 total. Mike Lawrence is a Lawrenceburg councilman opposed to the program.
The problem is, in the past, there's been many citizens, they didn't do the contract correctly, they didn't get both parties to sign it, so they can't file liens. There's really nothing they can do to go after the money unless the people will just pay it.
Which brings us to problem number two. While the city is owed hundreds of thousands of dollars, according to the state auditors, it's a pretty good deal for the contractor doing the work. Here's why. The Board of Accounts says the rates that the contractor quotes to the homeowners for driveways, sidewalks, porches, patios, and walls does not correlate to the rate billed to the city for concrete work performed on private property. In other words, the contractor may be, say, quoting the homeowner $1,000 for a driveway and billing the city $2,000. That's how the program works, because the city subsidizes the at-home construction. Although the city's records are so confusing, auditors say it's impossible to tell how much the subsidy is. City engineer Mike Clark tells me a ballpark average is the homeowner pays 25% of the total cost, the city picks up the rest. Although it can vary based on the type of job, say a driveway versus a patio. And now, problem number three, which, when you think of it, really should be problem number one. According to the state bookkeepers, the Off-Right-of-Way Concrete Program is against Indiana law. Never should have happened.
By reading the State Board of Accounts reports for many years, it's illegal to spend public funds on private property for improvements.
So why in the world has Lawrenceburg continued a program which the state auditing agency says is illegal? A program which that agency said Lawrenceburg should discontinue as far back as 2010.
The program started small, and then, in the words of one city official, it was like letting a lion out of a cage and trying to corral him back in. Back around the year 2000, Lawrenceburg, under a different mayor, the late Paul Tremaine, flush with cash from the Riverboat Casino, began offering free 10-by-20 concrete pads to residents living downtown.
The idea was to get cars off the main business streets and into nearby alleys. Over the years, that free 10-by-20 spread citywide. It's still part of the program. Mike Lawrence said no thanks when it was offered to him earlier this year.
And I told him I wasn't interested in getting anything, to just keep on going past my property. And the lady told me, no, you don't understand. You get a free 10-by-20, absolutely no charge at all. You at least get that. And I said, no, ma'am, you don't understand. Just keep on going.
And over the years, the Off-Right-of-Way Concrete Program kept growing. Not just a free 10-by-20, but as long as the contractor was in your neighborhood, the city would subsidize much more work on your property. A bigger driveway, a porch, a wall, you name it. And as concrete sprouted throughout the city, the amount of unpaid bills sprouted as well. Construction Inspector Mario Todd concedes billing in years gone by was inconsistent. Previous administrations, he says, told some people they did not have to pay anything. Most others made small monthly payments. Some paid everything, some didn't. This is Meyerfield Drive, where the concrete gravy train stopped this summer. 11 houses. 9 of them received free or reduced rate work, like Nancy Seymour.
We had a new driveway put in, a new sidewalk to the porch, new step.
Seymour is being charged $2,500, but figures it would cost more than twice that amount without the city subsidy.
But my husband and my son said it was a bargain.
Seymour is not aware of the troubles surrounding the concrete program. It's not like the city advertises it. But proof is just a few streets away.
Now, this house behind me is a classic example of how Lawrenceburg's off right-of-way concrete program got off track.
According to court papers, the city agreed to do work at Robert Mullen's house in 2009. A new driveway, new sidewalk, new steps, and a new patio. Mullen's billed more than $28,000 to be paid over 4 years. But the documents say Mullen paid only $950 total and nothing since September 2012. New Mayor Dennis Carr wrote to Mullen, "Start paying or we'll sue." Mullen's handwritten response, "The agreement I made with the city was $100. I was under the impression some people didn't pay anything on their account." The city settled with Mullen out of court. He will resume paying.
Remember, Mullen's original bill from the city was about $28,000. Homeowners only pay a percentage of the cost. So what would it have cost Mullen for all this work if he had paid for it out of his own pocket? Well, he told me the contractor said $120,000 to $150,000. And the contractor did not just eat that amount. The city of Lawrenceburg picked up the tab.
The company which did the work during the state audit years we inspected is Dave O'Mara Contractors from North Vernon, Indiana. Still working in Lawrenceburg. We called that company twice for reaction, no response. Meantime, at last, the city is starting to go after residents who have big unpaid bills.
It was very shocking, to me, that these violations were out there.
Leslie Votaw is Lawrenceburg's new city attorney who says she met with auditors for the first time last year. Votaw says the city apparently wanted to drop the program years ago, but kept it going to head off a class action suit by residents who had not gotten their freebies.
They're saying, all these other people have received this benefit and now you're going to stop it. I mean, they felt slighted in some way.
And so it's been going ever since. The city telling auditors Lawrenceburg did not want to discontinue the practice until the concrete program had been offered to all property owners. A program the city attorney says has resulted in remarkable improvements to the city as a whole. Finally, however, City Attorney Votaw says Lawrenceburg will wrap up the program this year, 5 years after the state said it's illegal. The mayor has sent out collection notices, and for the first time, Lawrenceburg is also suing about 30 residents for back payment and expects to collect about $50,000 from those. Without conceding it broke the law, Lawrenceburg is conceding that maybe the state auditors had a point.
I do think that it's this mayor's priority to try to clean the things up that the State Board of Accounts is suggesting.
Some people who owe the city will no doubt pay, but Lawrenceburg will never collect all of what's owed, not even close. Confusing paperwork, incomplete contracts, and the statute of limitations on collections all get in the way. With all those issues, it's impossible to determine how much Lawrenceburg has actually spent on free and subsidized concrete over the years. But if you figure the 75-25 split, it could be several $1 million in a town of just 5,000 people.
And this probably sums up the off right-of-way concrete program as well as anything else. You remember the bridge to nowhere? Well, this is the driveway to nowhere. You say you don't have a house on your property, but you want a city-subsidized driveway anyway? You got it.
Councilman Mike Lawrence, who turned down the free or low-cost concrete work for his own house, says he does not blame those who took it. He blames those who gave it.
I would like for the city, the administration of the city, to obey the laws of the state and just try to do things the right way.
In other words, set a concrete example. Jeff Hirsch, Local 12 News.